In a land of giant ice mountains and deep, dark forests, there lived a young man named Korg. In those days, life was very hard. To survive, a person had to be strong, fast, and very busy. Most men spent their sun-up hours tracking the great woolly beasts, and most women spent their time gathering roots or sewing thick furs to keep the cold away. But Korg was different. Korg was a man of many words. When the tribe sat around the dancing yellow flames of the hearth at night, Korg would stand tall. He would point his spear at the moon and cry out, "Listen to me. One day soon, I will find the hidden valley. I will bring back enough meat to fill every belly for 1,000 suns. I will make a coat so thick that the north wind will be afraid to touch us." The people of the tribe listened. His voice was like a drum, and his eyes sparkled like stars. They believed him because he sounded so sure. He had the fire of a leader, but he lacked the hands of a worker. The problem was Korg's mornings. Every dawn, when the sky turned a pale gray, Korg would wake up on his bed of dry grass. He would sit up and tell himself, "Today is the day I find the hidden valley." But then, he would look down at the dirt floor of his cave. He had a collection of smooth, colorful river stones and bits of shiny bone. "I will just move these stones into a line first," he would whisper. "Just a small bit of play to wake up my mind." But the stones were many, and Korg's focus was weak. He would move one stone, then another, then another. He would draw pictures in the dust with a stick. He would watch a beetle crawl across the floor. Before he knew it, the sun was high in the middle of the sky. Then, it began to drop. By the time the shadows grew long and the air grew cold, Korg would feel a pinch of guilt in his chest. "The sun is too low now," he would sigh, putting his spear away. "I cannot hunt in the dark. I will be fully ready tomorrow. Tomorrow, the sun will be perfect." One day, the wise elder of the tribe, a woman named Una who had seen 80 winters, watched Korg as he sat playing in the dust. She did not yell. She simply beckoned him into the back of her cave. The air there was thick with the smell of dried herbs and old smoke. On a high ledge, she reached for a heavy object. It was a large, hollowed-out tree knot, smoothed by years of rubbing and sealed with a heavy piece of flat slate. "Korg," she said, her voice sounding like dry leaves rubbing together. "Inside this wooden jar is the story of your life. It holds your future. I want you to take it. Every night, when the sun disappears and the moon takes the sky, you must slide the lid open and look inside." Korg took the jar with shaking hands. He felt a rush of excitement. Is it a magic tooth? He wondered. Is it a map to the hidden valley? That night, he sat alone by a small fire. His heart was beating fast. He slowly slid the slate lid to the side. He looked down, and he saw nothing. The jar was completely empty. There was only dark, cold air inside. The next morning, Korg went to Una. He was frustrated. "You told me this was my life," he said, throwing his arms up. "But the jar is empty. There is nothing inside at all. Did you play a trick on me?" Una looked at him with kind, sad eyes. "It is not a trick, Korg. Your life is a gift of empty space. Every day, you are given a jar. It starts empty. What you choose to do, the wood you gather, the tracks you follow, the tools you build, is what goes inside. If you do nothing, the jar stays empty. 1,000 tomorrows will not fill it if you do not act today." Korg took the jar back to his cave. For a few days, he tried to change, but the old habits were strong. He would wake up, reach for his spear, but then see his shiny stones. "Just 5 minutes," he'd say. And just like before, the 5 minutes turned into a whole day of sitting. Every night, he would open the jar, and every night, nothing inside began to feel heavier. The emptiness wasn't just air anymore. It felt like a cold weight in his stomach. He saw his life passing like a cloud, leaving no shadow. One night, a terrible storm hit the valley. The wind howled like a wounded beast. Korg sat in his cave, cold and hungry because he had not gathered enough wood or meat. He opened the jar. The emptiness inside finally broke his heart. He didn't just see a hole. He saw the man he wanted to be, disappearing into the dark. The next morning, there was no grand speech. There was no shouting to the tribe. Korg woke up while the sky was still black. His bones ached, and he wanted to stay in his warm grass bed. He looked at his river stones, and for a second, he wanted to touch them. But he stopped. He picked up his spear. He walked out into the freezing mist. He did not find the hidden valley that day. He did not kill a giant beast. But he worked for 2 hours. He sharpened his spear. He tracked a deer. He gathered dry wood. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. That night, when he opened the jar, he closed his eyes and imagined dropping a single piece of flint inside. He had put effort into his day. He did it again the next sunup, and the next. Slowly, the tribe stopped listening to Korg's talk because Korg stopped talking. Instead, they started noticing the piles of wood near his cave. They noticed the new, sharp points on his weapons. They saw him coming back with small rabbits, then larger goats, and finally, the heavy furs he had promised. Korg realized a great secret of the world. The perfect moment is a lie told by the lazy mind. The only moment that exists is the one you are standing in. Your life is like that hollow wooden jar. Every morning you wake up, you are given a clean, empty space. This space is your time, your energy, and your spirit. Ambition is just the jar itself. It is a place to hold things, but it is not the prize. Dreams are just the air inside. They feel good, but they do not keep you warm. Excuses are the dust that gathers when the jar sits still. Only action fills the void. If you spend your life saying, "I will start tomorrow," you are choosing to keep your jar empty. Do not wait for the sun to be perfect or for your fear to go away. Pick up your spear and step out of the cave. A full and happy future is not found. It is built, one small, intentional piece at a time.